Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tom with Catch, Hook, and Shoot, doing something a little bit different. This is going to be my first video blog. This is something I've been wanting to do for a little while, so I figured why not just start it up and see what happens. Um, yeah, I'm not even 100% sure where I'm going to be posting these yet. They may just be on social media, they may be on YouTube, they may be everywhere, who knows. But yeah, it's not going to be the full on podcast. Obviously, it's a little bit different setup, different camera angle. I'm not using the full audio video setup that I use for the podcast. And, which the latest episode of the podcast just dropped today. Today is April the 25th. So head over to catchhookshoot.com, check that out, or on any podcasting platform or on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast from, you can find it. But yeah, so with these video blogs, it's not gonna be a full in-depth, full-length podcast like I said. It's just gonna be me talking about one specific thing in the world of wrestling, just giving my take on it, my opinion, and that kind of thing, and just having a little bit of fun with it. So today, something I've talked about before on the podcast, and it's as far as specifically about WWE, there are way too many pay per views. I mean, the number of pay per views with WWE is kind of out of control. I mean, there's been, it's not as much as it used to be. I think at one point they were doing upwards of 20 pay per views a year, which is insane. And, it's still at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And, I get it. I understand why they do that much, especially like having the network now or Peacock or whatever it is. They're building content, they're creating content. It's all about creating as much content as possible to put up on the network or on Peacock. But I mean, there are ways to do that without doing the big pay-per-view productions every single month or every 3 to 5 weeks. And because it gives you no time to really build storylines. And I loved when it was just the big four pay per views because you had that build for a couple of months in between each one, and it gave you time to really get invested in these rivalries. Now it moves so fast from one thing to the other. And I mean, I think there is a solution to that without giving up, you know, the amount of content. You can still create the same amount of content without having these big, huge events, or they're not even that huge, most of them, but without having the pay per view event, like I said, every 3 to 5 weeks. And my thing is, I would love to see just 6 pay per views a year. That's it. You keep the big four: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. You bring back the King of the Ring. I've been saying that for a while. Bring back the King of the Ring just once a year. Do that tournament, and make it a full-on one-night tournament. The whole pay-per-view is the tournament, and you make it so that each pay-per-view has stakes with regards to championships, specifically the top championships, the WWE or the Universal title, which that's a whole nother blog that I'll get into at some point. But the kind of like the winner of the Royal Rumble gets the main event at WrestleMania. The winner of King of the Ring gets the main event at SummerSlam. Everything has title implications for the bigger pay per views. With the Survivor Series, maybe the winning teams, because I'd like to see it go back to the original format of the 5-on-5 matches. I was a big fan of those, and it built new rivalries and new alliances and things like that. And I really got into that. But Survivor Series, maybe the winners, the survivors from each match are guaranteed later numbers in the Royal Rumble, because that's the next pay per view after that. So, say you have 5 Survivor matches, just throwing that out there, and if you have a total of maybe 10 survivors throughout those 5 matches, however that might work out, those 10 guys are guaranteed numbers between 20 and 30. That's your 20 to 30. Or if you have 15 survivors over the course of those 5 matches, then they're guaranteed numbers between 15 and 30. Something along those lines, I think, would, because it adds like I said, stakes to every pay-per-view. And you keep, the Royal Rumble. Winner gets the title match at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is obviously WrestleMania, biggest event of the year. And you have them, the order you have them in, you have the Royal Rumble, you have WrestleMania, then you have King of the Ring, then SummerSlam, and then the the sixth one that I would add in between probably between SummerSlam and Survivor Series would be Money in the Bank. You have the Money in the Bank matches for the briefcase, if they start using those briefcases effectively like they used to, because the last few times hasn't been the greatest with the Money in the Bank thing. But I would throw Money in the Bank in there, and there's your 6 pay-per-views. So you got Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, and Survivor Series. They all have stakes, they all have championship implications, and they just mean a lot more, I think. And then, in between, you can still have special events in between there, because that's back in the day, that's what Saturday night's main event was about, or in WCW, that's what Clash of the Champions was about. It was to fill those gaps in between the pay-per-views when you didn't have them every single month. And so you have you put those out as network specials or whatever, and call it Saturday night's main event or call it Clash of the Champions, and it doesn't have to be a full-on pay-per-view, and it's just to build the storylines and continue those rivalries and continue to build into the next pay-per-view. Because with the network and with WWE being on Peacock, WWE's not so much worried about pay-per-view revenue anymore. I mean, yeah, they still get it. There's still fans out there that are buying the pay-per-views rather than paying the money for the network every month or for Peacock every month. But I think with the network and Peacock being their primary concern, you don't need those pay-per-view events every month. You have the 6 pay-per-views, and then intermittently you have the network specials. And then coinciding with the pay-per-views, that's when I would do the NXT TakeOver events or NXT UK TakeOver events. Maybe NXT TakeOvers 4 out of those 6 pay-per-views, to coincide with the big 4, and then coinciding with the other 2, the King of the Ring and Money in the Bank. That's when you have your UK takeovers. And, I think it would just make them a lot more special. Like I said, there would be stakes attached to everything, and everything would have title implications, and it just gives you more of a chance to build those storylines, which doesn't happen so much anymore in WWE. Everything's just fast, from one thing to the next. And, I don't know. I prefer the long-term storylines where you're not seeing a match with the 2 combatants every single freaking week. I mean, there's other ways to build storylines than just having these people wrestle each other every week and then again at the pay-per-view every month. I mean, you have a 2-month rivalry and end up getting 10 matches out of it, which is insane. It used to be in long-term rivalries back in the territory days. I mean, yeah, guys would wrestle each other on house shows, but there'd never be anything resolved. It'd always end up in some type of schmaz finish, a count-out, disqualification, whatever. But then you would have those big blow-off matches, which is what I think the pay-per-view should be used for. But if you've got a rivalry with somebody, they don't need to wrestle every week. You should build that rivalry every week, confrontations and promos and stuff like that. But I don't need to see the same 2 guys wrestling for 10 straight weeks. It gets old, and you run out of stuff to do. I mean, it's at a certain point, it's like, where do you go from here? They're going to keep this rivalry going, and we're going to end up seeing the same match multiple times. So that's pretty much my take as far as WWE pay-per-views. I'm going to try to keep these video blogs at right around 10 minutes or less. Looks like I'm at about 9.5 right now. So, wherever this ends up, social media or on YouTube or whatever, hope you guys like it. Give me some feedback, drop me some comments. Make sure to check out catchhookshoot.com for all the podcasts and everything. And I'm going to wrap this one up. Hope you guys like it. Like I said, I'm going to try and do these about once a week. So, Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.